Hey everybody, it's LavenderTowne, and today I'm going to be drawing various different video game villains in their human, cuter forms. We're starting with GladOS, who's one of my favorite video game villains of all time. She is from Portal, and she is just an incredible character. She's basically this robot who instructs you through the tests of Portal, and then, not to spoil a game that's like a million years old at this point, but it turns out she doesn't have your best interest at heart. So the first thing I wanted to do was I really wanted to avoid making her too young or cutesy looking. She definitely has like a woman's voice. It's obviously also a robot voice, but in general I didn't want to make her look too young. That was my first concern, because I'd seen a lot of really cute humanized versions of GladOS, but typically I think they always look too like teenager or younger, whereas I feel like she needs to look a bit more like an adult person. I decided to give her hair that covered half of her face, just so that I could make only one of her eyes showing, as the robot GladOS only has one really prominent dot of light that really looks like her eye. I guess I could have made her a Cyclops, but then she'd look less like her human form, if that makes sense. I decided to dress her in a lab coat because she really is science-minded. She loves testing and she loves getting new information, so I wanted her to look really sharp and like a scientist. I really struggled with getting the sort of like cords and wires that are attached to GladOS shown through her, so I left that to be one of the last things that I ended up dealing with. I also ended up giving her a little necklace that has beads that look like the cores that come off her towards the end of the game. She has at least 4 of them. I think she only has 4 in the first game, and I colored them based on how they were colored in the game as well. And just as an added bonus, I gave her a potato as a reference to something that happens in the second game. I thought that she turned out pretty cute. I wanted her to be menacing. As much as I wanted these to be cute character designs, I also wanted to not lose the like fundamental menace of GladOS. She's a very cold and calculating character, very aggressive and mean sometimes, so I definitely didn't want to lose her whole personality. I also wanted her yellow eye to glow a bit, so I put a bit of time and focus into making sure that it looked like it was glowing like a light, and then she was all done. I love GladOS. I honestly think she's such a great character. I hope you guys like how I transformed her. Next up is Monokuma from the game Danganronpa. Now, Danganronpa is one of my favorite video game series. It's a Japanese mystery game where you, the protagonist, wake up in a school that you were initially pretty excited to have been accepted into, until you realize that you are bolted and locked inside with really no way of getting out. And things get even worse when Monokuma, this little bear fellow, trots out on his little stuffed animal feet and tells you that the only way that you're getting out is if you kill one of your classmates and don't get caught. It's sort of a mystery game. It's really fun. But anyway, so for Monokuma, he was a bit of a difficult character. He has a very, not flirtatious, but sort of flamboyant way of speaking and interacting with the other people in the game. And I decided that I was going to give him this huge poofy coat to try to create this very plump, round little boy, basically. He has very skinny legs, so I didn't want to just make him chubby in general with skinny legs, because that would look weird. So in order to give him that plushiness, I decided to just puff up his coat dramatically. And I ended up giving him a sort of bowl cut. Like, it's a little bit ugly, honestly, but it gave the nice roundness to his head that I felt like we really needed. And I spent a lot of time messing with the asymmetrical sort of fangy smile. Again, like the GladOS one, I didn't want to do anything too crazy, because I did want them to look like human characters, but I did end up giving him a very specific vitiligo, I think that's how you pronounce that. It's a skin condition where you lose melanin in patches on your face, and that allowed me to give that sort of like half-half sort of coloration on the character in a way that's pseudo-believable on a human being. I also gave him a scar that looks like the red sort of eyelash eye that Monokuma has on one side. And overall, I think it turned out pretty well. I like the teeth on the hood. In general, Monokuma's tough because he's constantly oscillating between like very cute and unassuming and extremely violent and scary and brutal. Danganronpa also has an interesting feature in the game where all the blood is pink. so I wanted to feature that somewhere, as well as give the character the claws that are known for popping out on Monokuma at certain times. So I just gave him some like nice long sharp fingernails. I think he turned out really cute and really weird looking, kind of perfect for the character. Next up is Flowey. Now this is one of the scarier villains for me, at least. When I played Undertale, I actually found Flowey very unsettling, and as a result, I really wanted this character design to still be creepy. I was tempted to do these sort of like pseudo Cuphead, sort of like dot eyes, very retro sort of look on the character, but I ended up just doing that on a mask because Flowey's eyes change dramatically when he's doing his evil smile, so I decided to try to feature both faces and have one on the mask and one you know, on the actual character. I also tried to feature a lot of elements of Flowey's character design outside of the initial flower design that we see, including in the boss fight with Flowey. And I tried to make the hair also look like petals. They kind of ended up looking like blonde dreadlocks, but I guess there's nothing wrong with that. I put a lot of these like thorny vines around Flowey's neck, and I decided to make the whites of his eyes black, again because I really find Flowey quite intimidating and I felt like it wouldn't suit the menace of this character without it, even though it kind of leans into my like, is this almost too far from human kind of thing, but I give myself a pass on it. I also gave him kind of like a proper little suit. I just felt like it would suit the character, you know? And of course it had to be green because Flowey is basically just a little smiling flower, so everything below the head kind of has to be like the stem. I tried to make it work like that. I also put little petals and things around the wrists of the jacket. And in general, I just tried to make him look like a very menacing little guy, kind of like Monokuma. I didn't want him to look too old, kind of the opposite thing I was having with GladOS, because Flowey is inherently a younger sort of character with a younger mentality, so I wanted to keep that as a feature on the character. I also decided to make the buttons flowers just because, I mean, you know, he's a flower, Flowey, you know. I just kind of wanted to pull the character design logic down onto the suit. And then with that, he was basically done. I added a little more menacing glow to the eyes. I've really been enjoying doing that. Don't know if you noticed. And then he was basically finished. I think he turned out nice and menacing. I really like his sharp teeth. Yeah, I hope you guys like how I changed him. And just to be clear, this is for Flowey, not any other characters who might be related to Flowey, because there might be a more humanoid character related to Flowey, but I didn't want to do that. This was just for Flowey. Last but not least is Enderman. I wanted to do some kind of Minecraft mob, and I felt like out of all the mobs, this was the most recognizable, as well as the most sort of different, rather than just doing, I don't know, a spider. I thought about doing the creeper. That's kind of an obvious one, I suppose, and I think I could have done something cool with it, but Enderman just holds a special place in my heart because I feel like Enderman is scarier. Creepers are just really infuriating. So I decided to challenge myself with this particular character design. The difficulty here, unlike a lot of things, sometimes things are difficult because there's too much detail, and that's definitely not the case with Enderman. Enderman is a very simple, very blocky, sort of dark little shape with almost no color variation. It's just like darkness and then purple eyes. So I wanted to try and make an Enderman girl, an Ender woman, I suppose, and I just wanted to give her like this boxy little dress to try to imitate the body shape, and then I gave her extra long sleeves so her hands are just barely peeking out, so we get more of that like boxy straight arm sort of look, and then lastly I gave her this very boxy haircut, just trying to make everything look nice and Minecrafty, and I had to keep all the colors really dark grays, just so that it has that sort of like monochrome feeling. I felt like real skin tone or hair or anything just wouldn't have the same effect as a lot of like unnatural grays. I feel like Enderman is almost like a spooky little ghost. I also wanted to put a lot of those little particle effects around her just to make her look more Enderman-like and more spooky. And I knew I was going to have to do a lot of lighting effects for this one as well, because we are working with such little information with the original character design. So I decided to go for it really hard with the glowing purple eyes. I made sure that the eyes looked like they're casting light all around her face on like her bangs and stuff. And I decided to give her these cute little boxy freckles. I tried really hard to make sure the freckles looked like squares, but it was kind of difficult. I wasn't really at a high enough resolution to pull that off. I still think she looks really cute though. She almost looks like a little galaxy girl. I think I could have made her darker overall, but I did want the line art to show through at least a little bit. I hope you like how she turned out. I think she's probably my favorite of the bunch, either her or Flowey maybe. But let me know which one you like best in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. And if you feel like you can't wait until the next one, there's a bunch of backlogs of my streams on Twitch, which will be linked in the description. YouTube's really been freaking me out with all this COPPA stuff, I've got to be honest, so it would be really great if you guys could follow me on more than one platform just in case something happens and I need to leave YouTube for a while. It probably won't, but just in case, you know? See you guys around. Thank you to all my patrons, including Bella Story, Braggy, Koppelpon Lion, Clockwork Construct, Dr. Casket, Alary Alui, Elizabeth Albumgreer, The Animator, Hachiubi, Yara Formoso, Imagine Creation, Ivan Rodriguez, JJJ, Joseph Kopel, Katie Alina, Liblibla, Micah Dactyl, Mr. Dr. Pants, Naoto Kamigire, Nora Cornelison, Ollie, Pixel Badlands, Reddit, Rosie Warlock, Rudy, Sergeant Pendulum, some mediocre artists, the Artsy Moosey Boy, and Zoe Stardust.